Well, here we are for episode 2. We made it.
We
to
made
the
it.
second episode. Believe
Who
it or
would have
not.
thought?
Yeah, who would have thought, Andrea? This is episode 2, and we had talked last week that we were going to talk about goal setting.
Exactly.
We're already a month into the year 2022. Can you believe it?
No, it time just flies.
One whole month gone.
Yeah.
Now, Andrea's been thinking a lot about the goals, and we've been talking a lot about maybe for this particular session that maybe we share a goal.
Yeah.
And so because for Andrea and I, we've already told you this is our why. We want to help other women and we want to help each other.
Exactly.
And because it's all new, we decided we're going to take you through the steps of goal setting, but we're going to share a common goal. Now, for those of you that are just doing this on your own, even though you have your own goals, and one of the things you got to know about goal setting is that they must be your goals. You can't have a goal for somebody else. But since Andrea and I are doing this particular venture together, we've decided that we were talking about how many followers, how many of you women are actually going to be out there by the end of the year,
still listening to us
and watching, because this is going to be a podcast as well as YouTube. And again, we always want you to subscribe and share.
Yes.
So we've decided that our goal will be to see how many followers that we can get. That means we've got to set all the action steps and everything else. So Andrea, what were you thinking? Like, how many women do you think that we can get to tune in week after week by the end of the year?
Well, I know about 100 women personally, but no, I think like maybe 5,000. Is that like asking too much? I mean, I'm all new to this, so I'm not sure.
And 5,000 does seem like a big stretch because I don't know 5,000 people in my whole life.
No.
But I think, Andrea, even we working as a team can stretch our goal further. What if you think if we could at least shoot for the stars and go for at least 10,000 followers?
10,000?
I know, right? It's like, why not?
Why not? Let's do it.
Okay.
Come on, girls. Like, share, subscribe. Let's see if we can get this goal.
Now, I hope you have a pen and paper ready. Andrea, do you have yours?
Yes,
Oh, wait,
yes,
I
yes.
did get this.
Oh, yes.
Because Andrea was going to write it in a notebook. And I thought, no, you want something that you can actually look at every day. So what I'm going to get her to do is this little card, because we're only going to focus on one goal today. Now, you can do this for a number of goals, but since we're wanting our new show to really take off and that we get at least 10,000 subscribers, we're going to start writing it down. So ladies, if you have your paper and your pen ready, Andrea, here's yours. And I'm going to give you that. What we're going to do now is that we have, when we do goal setting, what we call SMART goals. Now, ladies, I'm going to tell you each letter in the word SMART and why it helps you to achieve your goals. But I want you to know everything that you think about that you're going to be writing down as your goal, you have to take 100% responsibility for getting there.
Okay.
Now, Andrea, because we're going to do this together,
Yeah.
we're going to be what we call accountability partners.
Oh.
And what that means is that I'm going to help motivate you to make sure that you're doing what you need to do, and I'm going to do, and you need to push me so that I do what I need to do.
Okay.
Because this show can't happen on its own.
Right. Yeah.
In order for it to be successful, we don't only need to have you, but we need to have a good message for our audience.
Exactly.
And some days, I know, we might not feel like filming. We might not feel like we have a good enough topic. We might not feel like we're even good enough.
Exactly. That's how I feel. But you've been encouraging.
So what makes us any different from anybody else? One of the things is going to be the action. So in order for our goal to start happening, we're going to write down what our goal is. So we've decided now, with a little bit of encouragement, Andrea's increasing the numbers by 100%. We're going to write down on our goal that we would like to have 10,000 followers by the December 31st, 2022.
December, okay, now wait a second.
And midnight.
Should I write here goals for 2022 or just start writing 10,000
No,
subscribers?
you can actually say, and that's a great question. You can just say, we would like to have 10,000 followers from all of our media sources.
I would like 10,000. You're still
10,
stuck on that number,
10.
right?
It just seems like a good number, don't you think?
I hope so.
I like that number.
Yeah.
And really, Andrea, I was thinking if we can get 10,000 in our first year of doing this, can you imagine next year's goal? Maybe we could shoot for 100,000.
Okay.
Oh my
Linda.
God, that would be exciting.
Yes.
But we want to achieve this goal
Okay, by what did we say? December
December 31st,
31st,
New Year's Eve,
2022.
2022 at 11:59 p.m.
11:59, okay. 11:59. That's great. Okay,
So now we have our goal.
I did it. I wrote it. Can you see?
You know what we might have to do, Andrea, to make it real?
What?
We may have to sign and date this so that we know.
Oh,
So today is January 29th.
right.
So we might want to date it because now we've really given ourselves only 11 months
Yeah.
to achieve this goal. So
Okay.
you can sign it and I will sign it because it's our commitment together. Normally, you wouldn't do a goal the same with a person. You would have your own goals so that you can take responsibility. But Andrew and I decided we would really like to do something together so that and again, we'll get to all the reasons, but we know that this is a new goal for both of us. And if we write it individually, we're still going to try to get it. So for us, we're doing one. Now,
And this is what's happening now, right now,
Right
in the
now.
present for me and you.
it's live
Yes.
because other than a few of our family members and friends, we don't have very many followers. That's where you come in. You can actually help us to
Yes.
achieve our goal.
Yes.
So I'm going to sign this off as well. And it's January 29th, 2022.
Perfect.
So you can see that we have a written goal. Now, something you need to know about these goals in order to help get to be successful, they have to be very specific. So you notice that Andrea wrote exactly what she wants. If we get more than 10,000, this will be a huge success.
Okay.
If we don't, we can still measure because we will go on social media and follow and find out how many of you are actually following us. So we know that it's measurable
Okay.
because 10,000 is an actual number.
Right.
And we can see that when we look it up.
If we got it or not. Right.
So the thing that's not on here that maybe we put on the back is, Andrea, some of the action steps that we're going to take in order to make this happen.
Okay.
Because when you have a goal, just because you write it down doesn't mean you're going to achieve it. But studies have shown the people that write their goals actually achieve more often, a very high percentage than people that don't.
Really?
Part of it is because when it's written, first of all, you see it, but you can take this out every day and look at it. What happens is that your memory, your mind, your brain will start trying to figure out how to make it happen.
Wow.
And
That's
so
interesting.
it is, right?
Yeah.
And it's so good because you're constantly thinking about it back here, but you are also taking the action steps. So what action steps would we have to take? I guess we have to commit that we're going to be out for the ladies here every week
Yes,
without fail.
right.
We're going to make this more important than anything else that's going on. Because in order for you to want to tune in and have your friends, come in because you're telling them, oh my God, you've got to hear these two ladies.
Yeah.
They really talk a lot of sense. I can relate to what they're saying because that's me. We want you to share. And if you're sharing, it's because we're giving you some new material and new things to think about week to week to help you become more successful in your life.
Right.
So, Andrew, I think on the back, you should start writing down that we commit to doing a weekly podcast / live YouTube video. One of the things that I was thinking about, Andrea, and I'm not sure how you feel, but maybe once we hit 1,000 followers, maybe ladies, we can do this live. We can go on Facebook and actually have a live presentation. And ladies, wouldn't that be fun that you can actually kind of chat in or call in or FaceTime in, whatever it is, in order to find out a little bit more about something that, you've been thinking about that you'd want us to talk about. And because there'd be other women tuning in, maybe they would have some of the answers that we don't have.
Exactly.
Because we're not experts at everything. But
no.
I know, right?
Linda,
we want to be.
You told me you were.
Yeah. We are real women and we're learning and growing along with you.
Exactly.
This is another chapter in our life that we're
totally new.
Totally new for both of us.
For both of us.
And
but exciting.
It's exciting you because we're stretching ourselves,
we
right?
Well, I definitely am stretching myself.
Anytime you come out of your comfort level, it's uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And you can't ever get comfortable unless you go out and make yourself uncomfortable.
Yes, that is so true.
I remember when I was hiring my assistant that I have now, and she came from retail and she was going into an office job. And she was so out of her element and so uncomfortable. She thought, oh my God, this is so overwhelming that she said, I don't think I'll ever be able to do it. And now she's been with me 17 years later.
Wow.
And she says, I can't even imagine doing something else. Although we keep stretching her to learn new things. And it's
she must have been willing if she's still there. And
but that's part of it, right? The thing is, you have to be motivated to want to do something different.
Exactly.
So taking on this venture, Andrea, with you, and, Andrea and I were always friends throughout our whole life. We weren't enemies, but we went through school together. In high school, grew apart because we were in different programs. When I went to your wedding and, got to see you get married, and it was around when you had your first child. And then our lives took a different turn. I ended up getting married. I was still in the town we grew up in while you moved on to the big city and married into an Italian family that had a very active family life.
Very.
Which we grew up, it was very different.
Very different. Back in the country, sort of. And then to go to the big city and get married to rather large Italian family, which funny enough must have been one of my goals, because when I was a little girl, I always wanted to marry an Italian. Why? I don't know. I think it was from a movie I saw. And I ended up, so it must have been set in my mind that that's what I wanted, and that's what I got. And it's 47 years later.
I was just going to say, and it's
we're still happily
married. Time married successfully. So
3 beautiful grown daughters, and it must have been a goal that I didn't even realize I set.
But you had to put yourself out of your comfort level, even to go from a little town like we grew up in
Oh,
to the big city.
it was huge. It was huge. My girlfriend practically dragged me there.
Well, the
And
thing,
I ended up staying, having a happy life there. And my girlfriend went back to our little town.
wow.
Like
Wow.
destiny. Like to me, that was like a
So I
destiny.
do remember before we sort of went our separate ways in our lives, you used to always say, Linda, you should move to the city. Linda, you should move to the city. I didn't realize what I was missing because I lived in a little town. And then I eventually did move. I had to convince my husband. Took 10 years to
Wow.
convince him to move to the big city. But he said, if you get a job in the city, we'll move. And
Wow.
never looked back. But it was, and that was for my husband at the time, a very uncomfortable thing for him to want to do.
Right.
He did it to make me happy.
Right.
And I was lucky because I would never move from the city now. But the thing is, when we do these goals and doing this new show, again, it's not a comfortable thing to know that you're putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
But if you don't ever try, you don't know what you could be
There you
getting
go.
and what you would have missed.
If my girlfriend hadn't dragged me, I wouldn't be where I am today or happily married.
Happily married with
beautiful
three.
daughters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's so true.
So we have to stretch ourselves sometimes in life. And that's why the goal setting is
And
so
now here
important.
you are dragging me out of my comfort
Yeah.
zone.
Again, somebody else is doing that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
She needs to be dragged all the time. But at least she's not fighting all the way, you know? A little bit,
Exactly,
but
yeah.
not all the way.
Yeah.
So hopefully she's gonna find a new reason to want to expand and push herself even
Yeah.
more.
Exactly.
Because every time you get uncomfortable, you eventually get comfortable to the point you say, yeah, maybe it's not so bad, right?
Yeah.
And then we can have other types of goals. But this is such a big thing that we're doing for each other,
Mhm.
for you
Right.
to be here week after week, that I'm really excited about it.
Can you tell?
Can you tell? Right? I know. And sometimes I have such passion about certain things.
Which
that,
is great. That's the best thing. Passion. You need that. You really need that.
and one of the things I started telling you about is that accountability. And that's what we will give each other. Because when Andrea and I reconnected, it was after her kids were growing up, after I actually ended up separating from my husband. But our moms had stayed in touch because they were best friends for all their lives, in the sense of after they got married and lived on the same street.
Right.
So they ended up reconnecting us through just conversation, because we both ended up, being in Florida at the same time. And after that, we've become very close friends again, which is really nice because we've come full circle. And now to take on this kind of adventure is exciting, to do that with a friend.
Yes. We have so many memories, so much in common from our humble beginnings.
Very humble
Yes,
beginnings.
exactly. Like even some of the food we like, in my Italian family, they can't even imagine some of the things we've eaten. And then my daughter, who married somebody from a similar type of town, he understands all those foods. So it is different. It's exciting and it's fun.
You came from a family of 5 kids, right?
Six
kids. Sorry. We were 6 kids until we had the accident. So we ended up with 7 in our family. And, I was a middle child of 7 kids, 7 siblings, well, 6 siblings and myself being 7 kids. But, with our dad being minors,
Yeah.
life was very different back
Very
then.
different. Yeah. And I was the oldest of 6.
Yeah.
So my mother depended on me a lot.
Right.
Yeah, it was tough.
So goal setting back then wasn't something we knew a lot about. But
It was getting out of the house.
well, yeah, see, that was always a big thing, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things that I wanted to share with you, because Andrew was telling me about when we thought we would be doing the goal setting, because you need to have some goals in life. And we thought beginning of the year, new show, this would be a perfect opportunity. But one of the first times that Andrea heard about goal setting, tell me that story.
In high school?
In high school,
Oh.
yes.
So yeah, we were in high school and with teacher was talking about tests coming up or whatever it was. And he said to all of us, he said, if it's your goal, just your goal to pass this exam, you'll fail. If your goal is 85%, you'll end up with 75%. So always stretch for the 100, and then you'll always be successful. And I've always thought about that, but I didn't realize it was this goal setting, stretching and all
Yes.
this until now. And we were just talking about it earlier. And it's it's a good story. And you know what? That always stuck with me. Always
Again, because
stuck
look
with
at you
me.
talking about it all these years
Yes,
later.
Yes.
And that came out for the first time for me hearing it was because we were talking about doing the goal setting on the show. And all of a sudden it was like she remembers a lesson back from high school
Right.
about goal setting.
Yeah.
And how important
And
that
now realizing should have done that with all things in
exactly. But that was what I was going to come to. The fact is you hear about all these things when you're younger and you don't realize the impact until something draws it out again.
Right.
And you realize that was the lesson.
Yeah.
That you always have to stretch yourself. Because when you do, if say you stretch yourself to here and you only get here, it's okay because you got here. But if you set the goal here, you're probably going to end up being down here.
That's right.
What's the point, right?
Right.
So it doesn't cost anymore.
I guess that's where the saying comes, reach for the stars.
Reach for the stars.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't cost you any more to dream big. And you know, there's Bahag or something. It's something I've heard a lot. Big, hairy, audacious goals. Because it's got to be a big, hairy, audacious goal. Because why not?
Yeah.
Don't let anybody stop you from dreaming big. And if you have young children, get them to stretch, get them to dream big.
Exactly.
You don't have to push them if that's not their goal.
No. If it's their passion.
But if it's their passion,
and you guide them, they'll make
think
it.
big.
They'll make it grow.
Think big.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes, ladies, you want to have that accountability partner that's going to help you keep moving forward, keep moving towards that goal. Somebody that can say, but I thought this was important. What are you making more important than this goal?
Right.
And if you ask that question, what are you making more important? You're telling yourself your goal really wasn't important. That wasn't really your goal. Maybe you wrote it down for another reason. Gotta think about that.
Yeah.
Because you got to know the why behind the goal. And every week when we're here, I was saying, we were talking, we want to share the why.
Right.
And the why is to help you become successful. So if we can do that, we will fulfill a big goal for us.
Yes.
And this is really important. So next week, we were talking about taking that, and we talked about this last episode as well, taking 100% responsibility for your life.
100%.
100%. Don't leave your life up to chance. Don't live your life on somebody else's goals, but take 100% responsibility. And I'm going to teach you a little formula next week that will help you think about when things are happening. But I don't want to give it all away. You got to tune in next week.
See, I'm learning along with you.
So
it's wonderful.
Subscribe, share,
like,
and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.